We are live in Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play. It is tournament week. This is the greatest time of the year.
First four tonight, dog.
I'm Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Joining us now, as we promised, once again, for just some elite insider information and access, is ESPN college basketball analyst Sean Farnham back on the show. Sean, first and foremost, I hope you're surviving. You have been an extremely busy man. So what's on your mind this morning, as you probably haven't slept much?
I have not slept much, but as you know, I always log in early here on the Zoom, and so I can make sure I listen to you two banter back and forth, and I have my trusty notepad next to me.
Oh, yes, who are you calling out? Who are you calling out?
I wonder who it is.
I'm calling out one of you today.
Okay.
It will not be the one that had the bad voice last week. It'll be the one that was with me in Kansas City.
I feel like I've seen you every other day the last week. It's been great.
All right, and I quote, after the non-conference, no one believed in our team. Excuse me? In November, I said you were going to win 11 games in the Big 12. You won 10.
You were way off by one game.
All right. And again, everybody's so upset about this 6th seed. What did I tell you last week while I was sitting here on this show? Did I not say you were going to be a 6th seed? This should not be a surprise if you are paying attention to what I'm giving you. I am dropping down pearls of wisdom here, not just on random tangy mac and cheese that you and I ate in Kansas City.
That was delicious, though. Very tangy. Yeah.
It was very tangy, so much so that I think I still have the aftertaste of the barbecue sauce.
Yes.
It was
still
spicy.
With me today. It was definitely the aftertaste. One of my buddies watched it and was like, "You didn't like it." I'm like, "Not really."
I can tell. It wasn't great.
I think, and you mentioned it, you liked it as much as you liked Kansas's bench this year, which is non-existent. But, Sean, Kansas ends up getting the 4 in Salt Lake. That sort of bracketing principles start to come in, and Salt Lake was never in the cards for BYU. They were the first 5. They fall to 6. You talked about it. BYU's to 6. It is what it is. But this matchup...
I think part of the reason why they're 6, though, also, from what I understand, is the... keeping BYU away from playing on a Sunday.
100%. That's what it is.
Multiple bracketing principles. Yeah.
So there's other parameters that come into play, and when you're in that situation, they're not going to up seed you. They're going to drop you down, and so that's why they got the 6. Also, the non-conference schedule. I wouldn't really, guys. You have 7 wins against the field, 7 wins on your schedule against the field this year.
Awesome.
BYU's in a good position. You're wearing a home color uniform. You're playing an opponent that literally got in on the final weekend of Champ Week with a miraculous run through an A-10 tournament that absolutely imploded before our very eyes. So let's not overreact. Let's look at it in its totality and then start to look at the bracket and say, okay, most importantly, how do these matchups look and how can the path forward for any team? And that's how I break it down when I look at my bracket is what's the path look like? Like if you look at Arizona's path and it goes chalk, it's Long Beach State, Dayton, Baylor, then North Carolina, like to get to the Elite 8. Like that's a very favorable path based on styles of play, lack of size, ability for Arizona to impose its will on its opponent. So I think that's how you should look at it more so than just the seeding.
The very sharply dressed and astute Sean Farnham is with us on BYU Sports Nation. We gave our 3 reasons why we like BYU's chances against Duquesne. I'm big on BYU's bounce back ability this year. I think it's been great coming out of games where they lost. That was a really smart graphic.
I like that too. That was really, really good. All 5 of those were astutely pointed out by you. I thought your argument was very buttoned up.
Nice, Sean.
I appreciate that. Okay, when you look at the metrics of how Duquesne plays compared to how BYU plays, what do you feel like BYU has a significant advantage in here in just styles of play, Sean?
Well, I thought you guys both did a great job talking about the strengths of Duquesne. They do defend the 3-point shot pretty well. Opponents averaging just about 6.5 makes per game from beyond the arc. You guys talked about the turnover percentage at 17.5%. You talked about the defensive efficiency overall. I believe Jarom used the term mid at the offensive side of the ball.
That's how the kids talk now.
Yeah, we'll say they're mid then on that side. But here's one that you guys didn't talk about. Rebounding. I think the Cougars are absolutely going to obliterate Duquesne on the glass.
Whoa.
Duquesne ranks 177th in total rebounding percentage in college basketball. Do you know what BYU ranks in total rebounding percentage overall in college basketball?
Is it
20th.
top 20? There you go.
So they're 157 spots ahead of Duquesne in total rebounding percentage. And in particular, on the defensive glass, where BYU is really good, Duquesne is not. And that's going to allow, as you guys, I think, astutely pointed out in the previous segment, look, I can give compliments as well. This is a game.
Who knew?
This is a game for Foose. And so while we can talk about how they defend the three, I will tell you that I think there's a distinct advantage on the offensive glass, second chance rebounds to be had. I think that Foose could really post up and cause a lot of problems for the interior of Duquesne in this game. And again, I don't worry about the three-point shot because fresh legs are going to be all around for this opening round in the NCAA tournament for BYU, and I anticipate great ball movement. And I don't think that, you look at the wins against the field for Duquesne, it's St. Peter's, Charleston, and then the upset that they had over Dayton in the A-10 tournament. That's it. Those are their three wins. And none of those three wins kind of scream at me Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas, if that makes sense.
Yes.
BYU's weathered and experienced in a way that no other BYU team has been before, right? We're not talking about that 1 or 2 wins scenario against St. Mary's Gonzaga. We're talking about wins against 2, 3, 4, and 5 seeds out of the Big 12 in this tournament, like you mentioned. 7 wins against teams in the field, which is pretty good.
And a 5 seed in San Diego State as well.
Absolutely. Great non-conference win and against a rival. What role will that play in a situation where you get into the tourney, the bright lights, it's a 1 game off, you got to win this to advance, where BYU is a little more experienced and weathered than they have been in the WCC?
Well, I think what you start to look at is I go back and part of the reason why, again, bracketology, like we've been talking about this so much, and I can't tell you what questions I have been asked on SportsCenter or what I haven't been asked so far on SportsCenter since the brackets came out. But I would tell you this: sometimes I think we over-evaluate conference play from the standpoint of they struggled down the stretch. Like Clemson, let's take Clemson for example. Clemson really struggled down the stretch. You're right, they did. They didn't play well down the stretch. But how did Clemson do in the non-con? And what did their non-con schedule look like? It was elite, and they were outstanding. You go back to BYU in the non-con, what was the average margin of victory that BYU enjoyed in the non-con? Was it 29 points per game, I believe? So they didn't just beat teams in the non-conference. They absolutely dismantled teams in the non-conference, including now the ACC tournament title champions,
How about that
North Carolina State. In Las Vegas in a game that I saw. Would not have predicted they would have won the ACC tournament championship, but congrats to Coach Keats for getting that done. I think that BYU is going to cause a lot of problems. I think there's also, there's times where teams look at BYU and go, that's BYU. Those are the guys that are going to be so physical with us. What is Coach talking about? And then the first time Richie Saunders hits him with an elbow, they go, oh, wow, that hurt. That didn't feel good. And, and that's the physical nature of BYU and playing against BYU. And that's what BYU is. BYU is intense. They are physical at the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, when it's working, it's beautiful. It clearly did not work against Texas Tech. And even throughout the course of that game, as I mentioned last week on the show, I fully anticipated like a couple 3-pointers going down, and all of a sudden we were going to have a game. And it just never really got to that point until late in the contest when they cut it to 7, and then back-to-back 3-pointers opened it right back up. So I think that BYU is going to bounce back. I think they're going to be able to start to impose their will here a little bit. And I think the rigors of their schedule actually benefits them a great deal. And it'll benefit the Big 12 too. I have 3 Big 12 teams in the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I ironically have 2 of them going against each other. That would be BYU and Iowa State going against each other in the Sweet 16.
Let's go.
My other one that I had Houston.
Yeah.
Had Houston in the Sweet 16, obviously. And I think Houston's going to bounce back. Like, I don't look at what happened in a shorthanded roster that Kelvin Sampson had and a very motivated Iowa State in front of an Iowa State crowd. That was not a neutral site by any stretch of the imagination. And Houston did not play well. They didn't. And the reasons I have concerns over Houston is that they go through those offensive stretches where sometimes they really struggle. That's okay. Their defense is pretty darn good. I was there and I saw with my own 2 eyes that TCU couldn't score for 11 minutes of basketball play. So I still also remember that as much as I remember them getting throttled by Iowa State. And by the way, Iowa State's pretty good.
Sean Farnham is on BYU Sports Nation. You mentioned you have 3 Big 12 teams in the Sweet 16, including BYU, which means the Cougars would beat Duquesne and then probably match up against the Big Ten tournament champion Illinois, another top 12 team in the country. So I know that most BYU coaches and players are like, this is poison, this is poison, this is poison. But
they don't have to listen.
We're discussing this for the fans, okay? So how does BYU match up with Illinois if that game actually came to fruition in the second round?
Truth be told, I'm not really high on the Big Ten as a conference overall this season. And you look at that conference and you look at the lack of depth in that conference, and I think that you start to go, okay, how are they going to do in the NCAA tournament? Winning percentage-wise, I believe over the last 8 NCAA tournaments out of the power conference or conferences that have multiple teams in the field on a consistent basis, the Big Ten ranks last. So I think that somehow, some way, for whatever reason, it hasn't translated regular season success into postseason success. Now, I do think that this team's a little bit different because Terrence Shannon has been on such a tear.
Yes,
and he is good enough to single-handedly win a game. So I think that this would be a fun game. I think stylistically it would be an outstanding game to watch and one of the more entertaining games. I go with BYU. Based on the fact that you have such dynamic offensive arrangement. And we've talked about this so many times, whether it's Foose or Khalifa, right? And how that now forces bigs to step away from the basket and how you can change the game within the game as the game goes on and how that's benefited BYU throughout the course of this season. And so with that being said, that's where I give a little bit of an advantage is the short turnaround. You've got to try to prepare for 2 offenses, essentially, 2 very different players. You have to tell your bigs, okay, when this guy's in the game, you're defending him this way. When this guy's in the game, you've got to make sure you get out on the perimeter and do that's a lot to take in a very short window. And style of play is unique. And, Mark Pope has said throughout the course of the year, they had to do something different this year. They have. And I think that could benefit them a great deal in a short turnaround to that game on Saturday, from a Thursday to Saturday. Once they take care of business against Duquesne. And by the way, Illinois, their Morehead State is not going to be just a complete pushover here either, though. But I do think Illinois is going to win the game. I do think that that's going to be the matchup. And again, I just think stylistically, it's hard to prepare for BYU in such a short turnaround based on the offense. And then, of course, what it'll always come down to, and I thought this was a great question, is don't you have to make shots to win games? I heard that in the first segment too. And that is an outstanding question. And the answer to that question is yes, you do have to make shots. And I would offer Houston's entire championship game as an example of why making shots is important, whether they're 2 or they're 3s. I do think it's important that as you go through this environment, if you're struggling from the 3-point line, how else can you score? That was the frustrating part for me watching the Texas Tech game. I never saw BYU deviate, and they just continue to believe, like, hey, we're going to make these shots. These shots are going to go down. And that's a shooter's mentality, which is great. But when you're shooting 20%, you got to find another way, man.
Yeah.
And it's not like Texas Tech is such an elite level offense that you couldn't grind your way back into a game. And that, to me, was a little bit disappointing to see in person.
Sean, one of my favorite things that we do on this show is have you take notes and call us out. It's become a thing. And I like it. I think it's
you
really
like it
fun.
because most of the time I'm finger pointing at Jarom. That's just mean. That's just mean. Hey, by the way, have you guys found a place that actually sells really good churros in Provo?
Yes, there's some good churros here. Yeah, there's a couple places. Next time you're in town.
No, but we've got to work on this for next year. Here's the thought process. What if next year for Big 12 Eats, we did mini Cougar Tails?
That's a great idea.
Cougar Tailitos.
So instead of doing the main attraction, the churros, there was what, 6 of them in there?
5, I think.
6? Yeah, 5. Let's go 5. Let's go 5 mini Cougar Tails.
Okay. We're submitting.
Would that be better for the school?
Yes.
Trust me, a cougar tail would have been better. The little drama there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're
my
working
thing.
on that.
Hey, by the way, next year, Spencer, you've got to come out with us because it was a great time. And here's what I would also say to BYU fans. Like, there weren't a lot of you there. There weren't a lot of BYU fans in attendance when I was watching that game. So here's what I would ask. All right. The WCC tournament felt a little empty without all the BYU faithfuls coming to Las Vegas. And I know that this year was a little bit different too, because your team's going to the NCAA tournament. So I'm sure some of you were like, hey, let's save it up. We can't take back-to-back weekends off. I'd rather go to the NCAA tournament. But after being at the Big 12 tournament, and I don't know how you feel, Jarom, but that was a home court environment for Iowa State. That was a home court environment for Kansas State. That was a home court environment for Kansas. That's not changing next year.
No.
So BYU, buy your tickets now. It was a great time. They had a great party after the championship game. Shaquille O'Neal, DJ Diesel, working on the ones and twos. And it's a really good town with a lot of really good food. Joe's Barbecue, highly recommended. So it's a great place to come, and it's a great place to celebrate basketball. And I think with BYU's success this year, hopefully that with now a year into the conference, that more BYU fans will be like, you know what? We want to make the trip out to Kansas City. Sounds like it'll be a lot of fun, because it really was.
It's on the to-do list for me for sure next year. Sean, great to have you with us, man. Survive and advance yourself with your schedule this week. You got this, man. Take care.
Yeah, and to be honest, I just need you guys to continue to advance so I can continue to get these hits working with you, you know? I mean, so I'm just like, yeah, let's go to the Sweet 16. That gives me at least one more time with the two of these guys.
I love it. Sean, great to talk to you, man. Be well.
All right, you guys the best.